Everybody, welcome or welcome back to Maitri Plays Games. I am Maitri, and today we are, well, let's just dive in. But before we get started, I just want to preface this by saying that I've had a pretty brutal few days because of the ataxia, and normally I wouldn't even say this shit, but it's International Ataxia Awareness Day on the 25th of September. I'm really working on being less judgmental and harsh on myself and more open about shit. Not because I'm like looking for comfort or pity or anything like that. I'm just attempting to normalize stuff for myself and subsequently for people around me. Nobody really talks about the mental health impacts of disability, but this is very much a part of it, and it's not something I had known about, and no one told me about any of it, and it was something I found out on my own. So anyway, unfortunately, what this also means is that I'm kind of fucking done with a lot of shit. And I'm trying to be empathetic, but I'm really not the kindest version of myself these days. That all being said, I am going to try and not be pissy and cranky in this video, even though I've had to rewrite the script for it like 3 times because it keeps sliding from inviting and constructive to accusatory and prickly. But that's really not who I want to be. Like, I really want to try and be a decent person, even though, fuck, wouldn't it be so much easier to just let myself be mad about stuff? Anyway, enough fucking preamble. Let's just get into it. The point I am trying very clumsily to make is that I'm not trying to hurt feelings, but I might. So anyway, diving into what I want to talk about today. Despite there being sort of overwhelming experience that emotions make games more compelling, I feel like too many GMs still treat it as like this weird liability or distraction or something kind of unprofessional, maybe even weak. There's a fear that letting vulnerability into your story, into your game, will derail play and make the game kind of unrecognizable. Never mind that tragedy is one of the greatest storytelling themes that has ever existed, not just because it's compelling on its face, but because it very much speaks to the human desire for hope. Like that's what makes tragedy so compelling. It's not the sadness of it, it's that you hope that bad things won't happen. Like, that's the fucking story. That's the heart-wrenching, gut-wrenching part. I guess the point is, like, if you don't give a shit about the things involved, who cares if bad things happen to them? So, the reality of not letting emotions into your game is really the opposite of what you are hoping to get, because suppressing or ignoring emotions at the table comes at one hell of a cost. Not only does it dampen the story, because there's no room for it to become meaningful, it stifles role plays because your players don't want to get too emotional and look stupid in front of their friends. It creates distance between the players because there's only a certain level of investment that's given allowance. And this kind of thing can even lead to GM and player burnout over time. Because honestly, avoiding emotion, avoiding allowing things to become meaningful, makes stuff feel kind of hollow. And it kind of doesn't matter like how tight the mechanics are or anything like that. I'm actually currently considering bowing out of one of the games that I'm in right now. I mean, it's like fine. It's just not nearly as good as my other games because I am not nearly as invested. And honestly, like, I'd rather have that time to spend with my partner. So, like, that's always the choice as an adult, right? Like, would you rather be here or would you rather be doing something else? Because every moment you spend doing this is a moment you are not doing something else. And for me, if I'm not, like, if I'm only kind of caring what we're doing, like, why would I not want to do something else that would give me so much more joy and yeah, like be much more meaningful in the long run. It's not a particularly complicated decision to make, especially when you are dealing with understanding that your body is probably going to fall apart. So you're not going to engage with the world the way you would like to. And maybe that is a certain way for me with the taxi, but that's true of people getting older generally too. Like, you're just not going to be able to engage with the world a certain way. You have to kind of choose where you spend your time and your attention. While books and advice and YouTube videos might tell you how to balance encounters, how to pace combat, how to pace your story, I feel like there are far fewer resources that kind of teach GMs to work with emotions at the table. And it can feel kind of awkward, it can feel kind of risky, maybe even out of scope. But being sort of intentional with emotions doesn't mean like bearing your soul or turning the game into group therapy. No one fucking wants that. People just want to know it's not weird to have fucking feelings. It just means recognizing and naming and normalizing the emotional dimension of play because tabletops are inherently social and emotional experiences. Every choice connects us to our humanity because emotions really do give us cues about what matters to your players, what matters to the characters, and ignoring them sort of squanders the opportunities for attention, for catharsis, and for connection and engagement. So at this stage, you are hopefully thinking about how to bring this to bear at your table. There are 4 things that I want to bring to your attention. The first is notice. Pay attention to the emotional currents at your table. Players often telegraph things sort of even before they say it out loud. Slump posture, forced smile, silence after a joke. And if a player is unusually quiet, distracted, withdrawn, like that is all absolutely worth noticing. And likewise, your player characters also signal emotional stakes, How do they react to the world? Like, which NPCs are they most drawn to? Are there wistful memories or mentions, of family or loved ones in quiet moments? These cues will tell you as the GM like where the story is landing for this player. As a GM, your job is not to fix these emotions, but to kind of notice them and to hold space for them. Giving space for feelings is just allowing them to have weight so things can feel meaningful. It's not just like a thing that happened. Let it mean something that had happened. Number 2, naming. Expand your vocabulary for feelings. There are some amazing feelings wheels, and I'll put them on the screen now. They're great. I was introduced to them during therapy, but I found them to be really great writers tools and also like GM tools as well. At the table, players often default to kind of broad categories like my character's mad. But if you have vocabulary for it, you can create richer play by asking what kind of mad. Are they frustrated? Are they feeling provoked? Are they exhausted and cranky? Are they resentful? Like, that's all mad. But there are different kinds of mad that probably come from different places. When you mirror back more precise language, you kind of invite players to have more depth in their characters. Naming emotions can diffuse tension, can deepen roleplay, can strengthen trust and bring about catharsis. Number 3, need. Emotions are messengers. They point to needs, they point to boundaries, they point to values. At the table, fear might mean that a character or player needs more reassurance. Frustration could mean that they're kind of feeling unheard. Excitement might mean that they found a hook that they would like to chase that they're psyched about. Instead of ignoring all these, get curious. Ask, what does this feeling reveal about what matters to them? Is someone withdrawing? Gentle check-in, hand notice you've been quieter down there. How are you feeling about everything? How the game's going and stuff. Basically, just open up a space without judgment. Point of this is really treat emotions as information, not obstacles to overcome. Number 4, normalize. Model that emotions are welcome at your table. Like I said before, this isn't trauma dumping, so this doesn't mean like oversharing or unloading to your players whenever it's your time to talk. It means showing them that emotions, whether it's frustration or excitement or uncertainty, those belong in the room and they belong at your table. Let yourself give a shit out loud. And weirdly, that's often enough for most players. Like, they just need to know they're not going to be seen as weird for daring to have a feeling that isn't anger, which, by the way, is absolutely a feeling, even though men have done a terrific job of rebranding it as logic, but anger is an emotion. Anyway, when you actively create an environment where all of this is true, when you normalize emotional honesty, you make the table more resilient, more collaborative, and honestly more fun. Because it's super unsexy to see, but a sense of safety is like when you feel comfortable somewhere, you kind of let loose a little more. And that's basically what safety is. It's not some big nebulous concept, it's just making people feel comfortable. We see it all the time. You're allowed to have your feelings. Well, fuck, dude, this is what that actually means. If it's not just some platitude to you, like, this is how you let people have their feelings. So, this is where I want to wrap up. Again, just like for my money, I feel like the best GMs don't dodge emotions. They notice them, they name them, they get curious about them, they normalize them. Emotions are not distracting noise at the table. They're certainly not a weakness. If you think that, you're really fucking stupid. But They're the signal that connects us to a story, to a character, to each other. Honestly, trust emotions, start treating them as resources, not obstacles to overcome. You will build better stories. You'll build a healthier, you'll build a more trusting day, will, and frankly, longer games, because emotional sustainability is what keeps campaign, is one of the things that keeps a campaign going, and it's something that a lot of people don't talk about. Like, it's again, it's that comfort thing. When people feel good about the space they're in, they want to be in that space more. That is all I have. If you like this video, consider subscribing. But if you don't like notifications or subs, I do have a backlog of stuff. I also have an audio only podcast format with a transcript and a written blog format, if that's better for folks from like an app accessibility perspective. I'm also on a few APs. Links to all that in the description. Otherwise, thank you so much for hanging out. Come see me again soon. Bye.